Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to talk about a new box, which is going to be officially revealed over in Japan, and I, for one, am absolutely delighted. You see, what they're doing here is essentially take 4 of what has been to date one of my very favourite Japanese products. So, a little while ago, they did the VMAX set. Now, this was especially cool because at the time, there had been exactly 8 different sets released over in Japan for Sword and Shield. Now, this was a little bit weird because they counted kind of double sets as 2 different sets, etc., etc. But regardless, they had this cool little pack where you'd get one of each of them, and then you'd get a little bonus booster pack thing where you would basically get 1 or 4 VMAXs and some Holo Energy. But it was kind of awkward because you either got brand new Cramorant, which was good, brand new Delmise, which was good. Cramorant did turn out to be the best of them, or reprint Cinderace or Morpeko, which was, of course, significantly worse. I opened one, got the Cramorant, did not have the guts to open the other one because there really was a difference. Then they did the thing with EV Heroes, where you would get yourself 8 packs of EV Heroes, and then at random, it was either Flareon VMAX, Vaporeon VMAX, Jolteon VMAX, or Espeon VMAX, and this was the only place to actually go and get that particular one. That was the only place to actually get these particular VMAXs. Then they did a similar kind of thing with V-Stars, where you would get yourself a V and V-Star pair featuring either Rotom, Zacian, or Zamazenta. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, and they were, again, these were all been exclusive, and this is a very important point of context. They have always ended up being exclusive. This is very important. Well, now they're doing the same thing, ladies and gentlemen, except now it's coming around with EXs. And there are going to be 3 that are on offer. We've got Toadscool, we've got Pawmot, and we've got Houndstone. And it's very important to note that these are almost certainly going to remain exclusive because that's what happened last time over in Japan. So what you do, now this is going to be coming out on Friday the 19th of May. And you get yourself 8 packs in total, just like with the other sets. 4 Clayburst, 4 Snow Hazard. And then you get yourself one of these EXs at random, all of which are brand new and exclusive. And I am delighted to say that I did all the translations for these myself. But once again, I did check with the lovely Antoine Boulet, just to make sure I wasn't doing a silly. So I think the star of these is probably Toadscool. This is the one that I do think could be very good. We got a Stage 1 EX here, 270 HP, that's about right. But we've got an ability which reads, prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to all of your Pokemon that have energy attached. This could be very good. Yes, it is a Stage 1 and that is a little bit awkward, but it prevents all effects of attacks. And that includes getting rid of energy, special conditions, automatic KOs, the works. And you know what's really weird? This is the same ability as Espeon VMAX, which was previously released in this exact kind of set. It was in the set which got you 8 packs and the random VMAX. Well, we've now got Toadscool, which is being distributed in the exact same way and has the same ability. I cannot be the only one that thinks that's really weird. As a little bit of a side note here, do remember that Espeon VMAX was just in our Evolving Skies set. So although it was a weird promo that was distributed in a weird way over in Japan, that's probably not going to be the case here. They're just going to be chucked into a set. So we like this ability. We've already seen it's been good on Espeon VMAX. It will be pretty good here. It's a 2-prize Pokemon, not a 3-prize Pokemon. and it's a different type of Pokemon. It's an EX, not a V, so that means that there are certain things that will change it. For instance, if we look at Ting Lu as an example, Ting Lu turns off abilities of Pokemon except for EXs. So Ting Lu, for instance, would turn off Espeon, but wouldn't turn off Toadscool. This is just one example, but the fact that it's an EX, not a Pokemon V, is actually, like, sneaky a very, very big deal. So the fact that it's a 2-prize Pokemon rather than a 3-prize Pokemon, the fact that it is an EX rather than a V, and it's a different type and all of that, genuinely impactful. And we've even got a decent attack here as well. 2 Grass Energy, and you do 80 damage, plus 40 more for each of your bench Pokemon with Grass Energy attached. Which means if you've got a full bench of Pokemon with Grass Energy attached, you will be doing 280 damage, which is enough to KO Stage 1 EXs and V-Stars. That's a pretty big deal. At this stage, I feel I should remind you that Terrestrial Fortress is a thing. Yes, you have to KO it to use the ability, which gives up 2 prizes, but it will accelerate 5 Grass Energy, which means it is very likely you can get a full bench of Pokemon with Grass Energy attached, and then you get to have a good attack on what is ostensibly a support Pokemon. And just to confirm, and I've done the translation myself, like I said, this works if Toadscool is on the field, not if it is in the active, which is the same way Espeon worked, incidentally, but this is still kind of cool. So I'm a big fan of Toadscool. I'm giving it 5 Wassies. That's probably too generous. Don't really care. Really good ability and a potentially very good attack if you can get enough Grass Energy on the field, which you probably can. I like this very much indeed. Now, I do think there's also a little bit of potential here for Pawmot. Now, I was chatting to the lovely Joe from Cerebi.net this morning about this, and it's a Stage 2. And that is extremely important. The fact that it is a Stage 2 is extremely important. Now, 300 HP is fine. It's on the low side, but it's not terrible. And the single energy 60, nobody really cares. But first of all, it's got free retreat. Free retreat is always a lovely bonus, but it's mostly the attack. For 2 lightning energy, you discard 2 lightning energy from this Pokemon, and you deal 220 to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, the wording here is actually really important. The fact that it takes 2 and you discard 2 is so much better than taking 2 and discarding all, because what this means is you can essentially get 4 energy on here, discard 2 to use the attack, you've still got 2 on there, so next turn you can just discard the next 2 and use it. So much better than discarding all. It's a very, very big deal. What is also a very, very big deal is the fact that Electric Generator is a thing. It exists. Because that's the item card. Let's look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Attach up to 2 basic lightning to your bench lightning Pokemon in any way that you like. That is a very big deal, because it means this is a very payable attack. And 220 anywhere is great. Remember, 220 is the baseline you need to get Pokemon V. It will also get the vast majority of EXs. So this is brilliant, like genuinely, legitimately brilliant. It is a great attack. 220 Snipe is brilliant. 2 energy in a world where we have Electric Generator is brilliant. The downside here, and it is a gigantic downside, the downside here is that it's a Stage 2. And it really is as simple as that. In a world where Stage 2s can be viable, this is legitimately great. I'm not sure we're in that world right now. Yes, I know Gardevoir is a Stage 2. And yes, I am fully aware that that's good right now. But there's so much about Gardevoir, like the really good Stage 1s, etc., that make it different. If we can get Stage 2s being viable, this Pawmot, great. I'm just not sure it is. Now, the one that seems like they made it just for me is Houndstone EX. 260 HP on a Stage 1 is fine. Single energy, 30 damage, stops you retreating. I don't really care about that. It can win you games, don't get me wrong. If your opponent is not playing Switch or things along those lines, then yeah, this can absolutely win games. It's a lovely bonus. Bearing in mind, a bunch of people have started playing Morile in their decks at the EUIC because there were decks that weren't playing any switching cards, so Morile being able to trap you in the active and stop you retreating as a basic Pokemon using colorless energy, that was a genuine thing. And I walked the tables when I wasn't casting at the EUIC. I saw a bunch of games won by Morile. It was a legitimate tech that legitimately won a bunch of games. But it's only occasionally when people aren't prepared for it. It is a genuinely great bonus that I genuinely love, but let's not pretend it's some kind of... It's probably... Like, at the EUIC, that worked. It genuinely worked because people weren't prepared for it. I feel like the secret's out because people are using stuff like Morile, and that's not going to work so much in the future. But bear it in mind, because it is a genuine thing that can win you games. But I am way more excited about the attack. Now, it is for a Psychic Double Colorless, which is super annoying, but it does 160 damage, plus 10 for each Psychic Pokemon in your discard pile. And that adds up quickly. 12 Psychic Pokemon in your discard pile, 280. That is Stage 1 EXs, that is Pokemon V-Star, and you can just keep going up from there. Because let's not forget that in Scarlet and Violet, we had the Graveyard and Houndstone that basically do this. The Graveyard here, single Psychic Energy, 10 for each Psychic Pokemon in your discard. Great as a starter, but it takes way too long to build up to decent damage. The Houndstone is 2 Psychic Energy, 80 plus 10 for each Psychic Pokemon in your discard. Better, but it still doesn't hit those big KOs on multi-prize Pokemon. And here you are hitting the big KOs on multi-prize Pokemon, but it's a Psychic Double Colorless, which means you're probably playing it in a Gardevoir list, because that's how you accelerate the energy nicely. But then the problem with playing it in a Gardevoir list is you got to make room for all the Gardevoir. But then again, you're playing a bunch of different Psychic Pokemon to bin them in the discard anyway, so why not? Like, just play a really Pokemon-heavy deck, and then you can use Gardevoir or you can use Houndstone. And of course, I was alluding to those Stage 1 Pokemon Gardevoir can use earlier. Let's not forget we've got Curlier, which lets you discard a card from your hand to draw 2. Which, of course, could be discarding those Psychic Pokemon, which is then fueling Houndstone's attack. I want Houndstone to be great in Gardevoir decks as an option for when you're not using Gardevoir. I'm just not sure it's not going to be too clunky. I'm still giving it 4 Wassies, and I'm totally biased here. But, yeah, I really want this to be good, and it could end up being a bit of a pain. Now, Pawmot. Pawmot gets 3 Wassies. Love it. Great attack. It's a Stage 2. Prove me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Prove me wrong. But we do need to add a little appendix to the end of this video. And that is, this is going to be a pain. Like, the first one was not that hard to get. Picked up a bunch. It was great. The V-Star one, I managed to casually pick up 4. And I actually opened 3. Got the Rotom, Zacian, Zamazenta in the first 3, and I've kept 1 sealed because there was no point opening the last one. But that was Lost Abyss, which wasn't that hyped of a set. It was cool, but it wasn't ridiculous. But the EVV Max one was a nightmare to get hold of. I only ever got hold of 1, and that was a lovely Antoine Boulet hooking me up because it was EV Heroes. And the fact that this has Clayburst in, and Clayburst has Iono in, unfortunately means that this set is going to be a little bit of a pain. If we get enough reprints of Clayburst and the price can come down, then this could end up being a bit more reasonable, but I don't really care about Clayburst. Ideally, I want to do what I did last time. I want Pawmot EX, I want Toadscool EX, I want Houndstone EX, and I want a sealed one because this is my, and I mean this sincerely, this is my favourite way Japan does products. I adore these products. They make me very, very happy. The only one I don't have one sealed of, and I don't have much of a sealed collection at all, but I've got the ones other than Eevee. I want a bunch of these, and it's not for Clayburst, it's because I want the promo EXs, and I want to keep one sealed because they're really cool. So I am slightly worried about that. We'll have to wait and see. But just as a quick heads up, these are exclusive EXs which can only be found in here. They are all at the very least interesting, and because it's got Clayburst in, it's going to be an absolute nightmare to get hold of, probably. But cross your fingers, ladies and gentlemen, it might be alright. For now, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know which of these three is your favourite. I want to know anything you want to tell me, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon, card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus pod for answer all of your questions, join a Discord and chat about anything, doesn't have to be Pokemon, and get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Tobias DePrato, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now, and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support, and for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.